guys, welcome to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome to a Republic of Ireland preview show. Obviously, Republic of Ireland have some, I was going to say crucial DAS World Cup games coming up, but in many people's eyes, maybe not so crucial as we're unlikely to qualify, maybe. But, you know, it's another test for Stephen Kenny. It's another test for this squad of players. Obviously, Portugal away first up. We'll talk about Azerbaijan when Portugal is finished, basically. But this is a huge test against a very good side. I thought about it there, Daz, before we came on. I was going to ask you who the key players were for Portugal, but look, they've got quality. Obviously, Ronaldo and that, but they've quality all over the pitch. This is difficult.
There's no there's no real point about the Portugal players. We all know who they are. We all know how good they are. They're on the world's best teams throughout Europe. They're on the the absolutely top quality, top class. It's going to be an absolutely excellent test for the players to see what how they cope against such a good team. But everyone's going to you're going to have to back Portugal for this. It's just I can't really see anywhere past Portugal win. Yes, Ireland's pulled up shocks in the past, but we're missing an awful lot of players, and we've a completely different team than what we would have had against your Germanys, your Swedens, your Frances, all them teams back in the day, Italy's, where we got them wins under like recent managers like Martin O'Neill and all them. Like a completely different team, different team, completely different. Like this team is full of youngsters and players playing at a lot lesser level. Like it's not full of Premier League players anymore.
How do you think Ireland should approach this, Daz, from a tactical point of view? Or how do you think Kenny will approach this?
I think Stephen Kenny, I hope he doesn't really go 3 at the back. I could see it happening against Portugal, and I think if he does that, he could be leaving us open to concede an awful lot of goals. If it was me, look, I'd be shutting up shop and I'd be trying to keep Portugal out, and I'd try and nick it. An old-fashioned way, I would do it, because we're against Portugal. I don't think he's at nothing trying to go out and play expansive football against such a good, top-quality team. I wouldn't do it anyway. I could see Stephen Kenny doing it, but I certainly wouldn't approach it that way. I think he should try and go back to a bit more old school. Not use old school players, but maybe just be a bit more defensively minded, a bit more tactically minded, and maybe play it differently to how it might suit the players, I think, in a way, because there's not a lot of players out that we'll get onto now in a minute as well that he would have picked, I think, as well.
Well, yeah, it's funny you should mention the old school thing, but I think you can set up defensively without having to play hoofball as well. You know, that kind of way. I mean, you can try and hit them on the counter attack, because let's be honest, even if he tries to try and play, as you call it, fancy, let's say, against Portugal, we're not going to have much of the ball regardless, because Portugal have better players, have better players are more comfortable in the ball. They're not going to give the ball away as cheaply, let's be honest, as the quality that we have in our squad. But when you look at us counter-attacking as well, have we got enough players to play that way as well in the counter-attack? It's a difficult one, but look, we'll go through the squad quickly. And obviously the goalkeepers are Kelleher, Bazuna, and Talbot has just come in, which is great to see from the League of Ireland, obviously from Bohemians. He's come in as Travers withdrew. First of all, thoughts on Randolph not being in the squad, actually?
Yeah, look, I'm disappointed in a way, but another way I can see him why he's being left out. He's number 3 at West Ham, and that's not acceptable to be number 3 and be taking it and sitting back taking your paycheck. If you want to play for your country, you want to play for Ireland, you should be going out there and getting a loan move. It's not like you can't get a loan move. Just take a pay cut and go somewhere else. But clearly Randolph at the minute just wants money, and I'm sorry if anyone thinks differently. I think that's what he's doing. Like, there's absolutely every championship club would take Randolph. 100% they definitely would. And he's third choice in the Premier League, and it's no good. Like, and he shouldn't be included in the Ireland team if he's happy to be number 3 and thinks he'll get picked to be number 1. Like, absolutely no way should he be. You have the likes of, I know he's had to get withdrawn, but Travers is starting in the championship and has started the last few games, and it's doing pretty well. And in my head, if he was fit and available, he'd be number 1 for me, nailed on. He'd have to be. He's playing at a very high level in that Bournemouth team, and he's very young. And Randolph is he's not even sitting on the bench. Right, he's in reserves. He's number 3. He should be getting a loan move, and he should be gone, and he's not. He didn't get off his arse. He didn't sort it out. He didn't leave the club. And for anyone saying no one came in for him, that's not the way it is. Randolph could move if he really wanted that.
Well, I was a bit disappointed, if I'm honest, that he went back to West Ham in the first place. I thought it was very, very odd, and clearly that wasn't a move to. Like, he was there before, he wasn't getting in, so I never understood. It looks like it was a money move, and to be third choice there. Now, some people will look at this and say, but Kelleher is second choice at Liverpool, but it's a little bit different. Like, you've got Alisson, you're playing for a world class team as well. and if Allison gets injured, Kelleher's in. But maybe it's a question of Randolph's mindset. Maybe that's the reason why he's not in the squad. We don't know. On the other side of it, people say, look, but he's dependable for Ireland. It doesn't matter. So I can see all those little arguments as well,
The only thing is, though, like Arthur has had, 60 minutes of football in the last few months, and he got included. Hendrick is starting for Newcastle. He got included. Why are they including and Randolph was left out? Especially when Travers, who probably would have started, got left out. I would have thought Kenny would have brought in Randolph then, thinking, right,
maybe
look.
it's that for a bit of experience in the squad as well.
Yeah,
because I've seen,
yeah,
you've mentioned the likes of, say, you can mention Long there as well. You could mention who'd you mention there, Jeff Hendrick and that. And I know people want these players to be phased out, and I can understand that, and I'm also in that same boat. But at the same time, you can't just put out a squad of under 21s, basically, can't you? Now, it has to be a phase out thing. But then that sounds a bit hypocritical when you talk about Randolph then.
Yes, it definitely does.
Yeah.
And the thing, though, is Randolph is dependable for Ireland, and he has been one of our best players. And it is a shame that he's not in the team. And like I said, he shouldn't really have been included for the fact that he's not playing, which is unfortunate. But then, as we said, there's other players that are also not playing that got included. And, then Travers got withdrew when he brings up Talbot from the League of Ireland when he could have had a Premier League number 3 choice. And I know you're saying about Kelleher being included, but we don't really have anybody else. But Kelleher is also number 2, whereas Randolph is number 3 at Premier League clubs. So that says something as well. And look, I
wonder as well, Daz. I'm sorry, just cut across it there because I forget. I wonder, Daz, if there's something else at play here as well. I'm just playing devil's advocate as well. Like, there could be something else at play as well. It could be that Kenny might have said to Randolph, I think you might be better off getting a move. And maybe Randolph said, okay, I'll try and get a move. And then he never bothered trying to get a move. We don't really know. I just have a feeling there's something else here. Do you? That's under yeah.
Like, he's on a great paycheck at West Ham. And if he was to drop down in Championship, he could be losing 20 grand, 30 grand a week for all we know. And if he only wants to do that, probably not. He was probably thinking, I'm nailed on starter for Ireland every single day of the week. Why would I move? Why would I move? And if that's his mindset, that's why he's been left out, and rightly so, till he gets a move. And you even seen Shane Long when he started getting left out with Mick McCarthy. He ended up getting a move to Bournemouth. Then he was brought back into the team after a while. Didn't do exactly bad at Bournemouth, but he started to get included then once he moved. But Randolph definitely needs to get a move. And the thing is, I think he would do very well if he had been included, and he probably would be your number 1 every day of the week. But he needs to be playing football. Your number 3 is not acceptable, and it's not ideal. And the fact that one of the keepers had to get withdrew, who are you going to call up? If you're thinking of Randolph, and he didn't. He stuck to his guns, didn't call him up. So it was a very, very big decision by Kenny to make, and shows that he will make big decisions. When there'd be a lot of people, I'm sure, watching this now that'll be disappointed that Randolph was left out, and he has been one of our best players in recent times. So, it's very debatable. Like, do we include him?
Very interesting debate.
Very debatable.
Yeah. Who are you picking in goal, though? Who do you think will go in goal?
The thing is, I would have picked Travers if he was there. He's out. He's been excluded. James Talbot's number 1. I know. As much as I love to see Talbot number 1 against Portugal, I think you're going to have to go with. Bazunu. He's starting. It's a very tough call. You got Kelleher, you got Bazunu. But then again, Kelleher has played Champions League recently last season, and he's done very well. So he might get included for that reason, playing with the top quality players. It's a very thin line. Who do I pick, Bazunu or Kelleher? It's a very, very thin line. People be saying you're mad picking a League 1 keeper over a Premier League number 2. I understand that. It's just my basis.
To be fair, though, that's the Bazuna. He did do well in the games he played recently also, so that's another thing. I was
just about to say that when Bazuna came in, he did very well. He stepped in, he looked comfortable and confident on the ball, and he's playing every week. He's playing in League 1. He starts every game. Kelleher doesn't start every game, albeit at different levels. But for me, the thin line, that kind of decided. He's getting action every single week, but Kelleher's training with the best every single week. So you have to look at that then as well. So it's very thin line. It's very, very hard to pick whoever. And ultimately, you definitely watch them with trade and see who do you pick. But, on the spot, it's very, very hard.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one. Everyone I think. I'll just go through all the defensive squad quickly. You've got Coleman, Doherty, Duffy, Egan, O'Shea, Manning, McLean, Oma Bamadella. I think I got that right. Did I actually? Yes. Yeah. Collins. Nathan Collins, nice to see him in the squad as well. Are you going a back 3 or a back 4?
I'm going with a back 4.
Personally,
it's against Portugal. You can't really be, we're not going to have much of the ball. It's going to be a lot of them coming at us. And I think a back 4 is more steady and more safe to play. If you're playing against a team of high opposition, I think my back 4, in a way, my pick itself, I think people will probably agree with it. I went for Coleman right back, nailed on. I went with Duffy, nailed on, back in form, scoring for
Yeah.
Brighton, did very, very well. Brilliant for him. O'Shea, he's doing very, very well with West Brom. Put him in left centre back position. He's starting every game. He started a lot of games last season in the Premier League. Brilliant, good player, good young player. And I went from Manning left back. Stevens, he's out. He's not included. He's injured. And Manning's been in great form with Swansea. He's been playing centre back and left wing back. So he'd suit that left back position, I think, very well. And it's been a matter of time before he got included, I think, to start a game.
When you look at our defence overall and those names overall, Daz, it's probably our strongest.
Yeah.
It's the strongest part of our team, let's be honest, isn't it?
100%, 100% is the strongest. And the fact that Randolph isn't there now, you're kind of depending on another keeper who might be at his level as such. So you kind of need your defence to be a lot more organised and maybe not have as big of a presence in goals as it probably would have had with Randolph. So it's going to be great. And then players that are playing, your O'Shea, Coleman, Duffy, they're in form at the minute. Manning's in form, and they're probably our most informed Irish players at the minute. But it's good to have that, and I think that's a solid back four for me anyway.
Yeah, they'll need to be solid against Portugal, that's for sure. I'll go through the central midfield players first. We've got Josh Cullen, Jeff Hendrick, Conor Hurahan, Harry Arter, Jamie McGrath from St Mirren, obviously, and Jason Malumbi, who recently got a move to West Brom. Which three are you kind of going for here?
Look, I think firstly, before I pick these, this has been a very, very hard pick. It's a weakest position in my opinion. Including the likes of Hendrick, who's not really playing. You've included Malumbi, who Kenny clearly favours and likes. He is a good player for Ireland, but he's not really playing a club. Good that he got the move. I hope it works out for him. Cullen, he's playing with Anderlecht. We all know what he can do, and just looking around the pitch, it's very threadbare inside midfield. It's going to be very, very hard. The three I went for Hurahan. I think we could be relying on set pieces for these 3 games ahead. I think we definitely will be. And he's came up with the goods for Ireland a few times on set pieces. I think he's someone you can depend on, and a bit more experience as well. I put Cullen beside him. I think he's done well with Ireland. He's been a good engine. I put him in the centre of midfield. He could be up and back in that box. And I put Malumbi beside him. Very technically gifted player. Some of Kenny favourites. I think that's realistic to go with as well. So I would start Hendrick. It just doesn't do it for me. A lot of people will agree with that, I think, as well. But that's the midfield three I went with. I think that's the best midfield three out of who we could pick. I don't know why he left Kilkenny out of the team. You could have brought him for Arter. I don't know. It was very strange leaving him out. I just don't get it why he left him out. It's very strange. Probably would have had Kilkenny in the team if he was included, but he's not. So that's the three I went with.
Then we have, they're down as forwards, but you know yourself. We've got Connolly, we've got Collins, we've got Horgan, Ida, Parrish, Long, and Curtis. Some of them are wingers, really. I suppose I'll ask you first, who are you going on the wing? Who would you choose?
Yeah, I've actually went with Curtis on the wing.
Right.
Again, look, League One level. We all know that, but who else are we going to really pick?
There's not too many. Like, I'm just looking at those names, and Daz, not just in terms of names, but in terms of playing and stuff like that. And like unfortunately, it looks like Adam Ida. I'm a fan of him. I think he's a bit raw, but I'm a fan of him. It looks like now he's third choice striker at Norwich, which isn't good at all. Parrish is still playing League One. He scored a couple of goals. I'd expect that at League One. Shane Long, yourself, Curtis, even Connolly. It's just not happening at Brighton either, really, for him, is it? And Collins, Horgan are kind of the older players in the squad that you wouldn't say are brilliant, let's say. So I think that's the position where we're really struggling in the wing and up front, as in what do we pick here? Yeah.
Because who do you pick? And the players Kenny's picked, they are the ones he can pick. But again, question marks even roundabout, question marks even Kilkenny out. Just these players I could have picked that you just simply didn't for whatever reason. But them wings is very worrying for me, and they will be exploited, I think. And I think really you'd have to go with pace on the wings, and it'd be interesting to see would he put Doherty in the wing again. Would he try it? Because experienced, defensively minded, we know he can get up and down the pitch. He's playing the wing back position, so he does know how to get up forward. He might provide cover for someone coming overlapping him. He's tried it a few times. It didn't really work out. Could this be the game? Could this be the game that he tries out? I didn't go with Doherty on the wing. I wouldn't mind if he was there. I certainly would like to see it again. Going against Portugal, you might want that defensive mind and that kind of experience on the pitch. You've got a Premier League player on Spurs versus a League One player. It's very hard to kind of, not really pick Doherty over that for that reason. But if he didn't do it against Gibraltar that time, he's not really going to do it against anyone else. That was a long time ago, but it is worth mentioning that Doherty could be one to go there. I don't think he will, but it's optional. He could go there. I have went with Curtis. As I said, it's extremely hard to pick these. Who do you put there and why? A lot of them are
See,
even.
that's the problem, isn't it, Daz? There, you've a League One player in there, and it's not as if people will say, "What are you doing?" or completely disagree. Some will disagree and say maybe they go with him or him, but it's you're kind of going to League One player, and you're kind of going, "Yeah, well, he could actually play," and that's the problem in itself, isn't it? In many ways.
And I don't think Ireland's had this problem for 20 years.
No,
We're looking at League One players to play against Portugal in a qualifier. It's serious. That's pretty bad, like the way it is. But it's the team Kenny has inherited. Like, it's the way it is, and there's not really much. There was no one else playing. He could have really called up. There actually is nobody else really could have actually called up. Duffy, is on standby, but he's a League of Ireland player.
yeah.
You don't really bring him in, as such at the minute.
He's
But
not going to be better than what we have. Put it
he's
that
not.
way.
He's not.
Yeah,
And look, that's I think
it's the
thinking of everything
honest.
aside, then for me, it was a toss up between Doherty and Curtis. I went with Curtis because he is an out and out winger and he's got
Yeah,
pacey up and down, and Coleman would be good behind him. I think they
yeah.
might link up well, so I went with Curtis for right wing anyway.
Left wing.
Left wing, it was extremely hard to pick left wing. Very, very hard. You've got Connolly not getting in. Horgan's played there a few times. He's got pace. Curtis, I've already picked him on the other side. Shane Long is not really a winger. He's experienced, yes. I went with Connolly. He has played there with Brighton in the past. He's played there with Ireland in the past. He's got a point to prove. He's been missing from a few Ireland camps recently. He's been out with COVID. He's been injured. I think he'll be hungry to perform on this game. And, if he does well with Ireland, he might get into the Brighton team. He might start, get himself back into the team. And, he could try and maybe play up kind of beside Parrott or near Parrott. Yeah, I picked Parrott for striker. I think that was nailed on. But Connolly on the wing, I think that's who I went with. I don't really see really how you could pick anyone else, really.
And that's the problem as well. Like Connolly, look, he has a bit about him. There's no doubt about that. But injuries and COVID, not getting in the Brighton team, etc. There's just no form line with him, and that's the difficulty. And
No.
that's the same with Adam Ida as well. Now, to be fair, as well, and
The thing though,
Paris.
I can see Kenny, and I hope he doesn't, but I can see Kenny going 4-4-2 even, or 4-4-1-1 or 3-5-2. And if he does that, he could put Hendrick on the wing. I hope he doesn't. He has played there before, right midfield. He could put him right midfield, or he could put him
Mind
left.
you, I know this sounds funny, but I'd rather Hendrick on the wing as a right midfield, not a right winger, right midfielder, than in the centre. Because I find if he plays in the centre, he just loses the ball.
He
He
loses the
gives
ball,
the
and
ball away in the middle of the park. He can't do. If he was as a right midfielder, not a right winger, he
cover.
does have a bit of an engine, as in work rate to get up and down, that kind of thing. I wouldn't pick him, but I'm saying if I'd prefer that than have him in the centre of the park, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I'd be the exact same, and we've seen games where he's just went through the motions. He might as well have not been there in some games, and that's very hard and harsh on him and critical. But that's the way it is, in my opinion. In my eyes, what I've seen, there's been games he played where he just might as well have just not been there. The game just
Which
went.
game was it recently, Daz? Because my memory doesn't serve me so well. He got sent off in, but he gave the ball away cheaply in one of the games as well. And it was a silly sending off.
Remember that? Yeah,
Oh
Slovakia.
God, was it? Was
Yeah,
it
it was one of
Slovakia?
them. I think
Someone
it
might
was.
tell us in the comments, because my head has just gone like a sieve there. But he really frustrated me in that particular game. Was it Luxembourg actually? No, I don't know. But anyway, he
No,
really
it
frustrated
wasn't.
me. That was me kind of saying, "Oh, do you know what? I'm sick of him." I'm fed up with him, to be
I
honest
just,
with
I find it like unbelievable. Like, he's still in
you.
the
Yeah.
Premier League on about 50 grand a week, if not more. Like, how is he still there? Like, it's just,
And he even
it
played
boggles
for
the mind.
Newcastle quite a bit last season somehow as
He
well,
did,
didn't he?
he did, and that just shows the level Newcastle are at. If they're relying on Jeff Hendrick to come in and play for them, and it's sad to see if Hendrick got a move to mid-table championship team, he could come back into form, be confident again, and he could be the player that we know is there and that he has shown in the past. But if you're going back to Euro 2012, that's 10 years ago nearly, and that's not good enough. There's been so many players 10 years ago.
2016 actually was the competition,
Yeah,
wasn't it? But
2016,
where he was decent, but
still a long time ago, and
that'd be
it's
5 years ago.
it's been a far cry from what it was, and it's unfortunate to see. And like another player too, we haven't even really mentioned is Robbie Brady. Still hasn't got a club. If he had dropped down to the championship, even went back to the likes of Hull City and started playing every week and scoring goals, he'd be in contention for this game, I think, or be in
I
contention.
think as well with him, his issue is just injuries, and he seems to You look at him when he plays now; he seems to have lost his mojo a little bit as well. Maybe a bit of hunger, or he just keeps getting injured, and it's difficult to keep coming back and showing the same desire, maybe, and things like that. And as as you say, he doesn't have a club. It's a bit of a disaster there. But up front, you're going with Parrott, is it, over Ida, actually?
I went with Parrott. He's been knocking on the door for a while. He had a great game against, for Ireland last time. He scored a few goals. He got himself another loan move. He's scoring. He's playing every week. He's doing what you want a young player to be doing. He's confident. He's on the ball. He's playing in the right position this time. With Millwall, he's a bit messed around, going centre midfield, attack midfield, left midfield. And they weren't, Millwall are a long ball team. They have two big centre forwards. They have big centre back. That's how they play, and that doesn't suit his game. He's got MK Dons now who are trying to keep it on the ground. I've seen it in the highlights. He gets on the ball. He connects up so well. He's fitting in very well there, and he's scoring goals, and it's great for him to see. And I went with him there. Shane Long is still not getting in as a team, and he's very old. He's 33, 34, I think. It's hard to believe Shane Long's that old now, but he is. And, Parrott's playing. He's confident. He's scoring goals. I went with Parrott up front. I think he's the future for Ireland so far anyway. Ida's number 3 striker at Norwich. I do like Ida as well, but he's not getting in. He's not getting games.
Disappointing that he's gone to number 3, though, isn't it?
It would be, and it'd probably be different if Ida had a drop down a level Championship or even League One and got in and started playing and scoring goals. You'd be thinking, God, it's hard to pick now, Parrott or Ida. Who do you go with? But the fact that he's not getting in, I think it leaves him out of the starting team for me.
You never know. He might get a loan move before the transfer window closes, because I think it might be a good thing for Championship, especially. Parrott there, yeah. Parrott is another player who's in League One, but that doesn't bother me quite as much because he's a youngster. Like, he's still a teenager as well, isn't he? He's still 19, I believe.
Like a lot
so that doesn't mind me. It's just with Curtis, he's an established player in League One. Do you see what I mean? He's not really going to get much better. But with Parrott, I don't mind it so much, but it's just disappointing that we have to rely maybe on a youngster who's playing League One, that we can't have someone else that's going to play. Like Shane Long, for me, not now.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I'd love to see Shane Long move to a club and play every single week for a season and see what it's about again. I'll be honest,
I think he's gone for the last few seasons as well, to be fair. I think he's...
Look, when he started not starting for Southampton, and not getting into the team, that kind of ruined him for me. If he hadn't moved then, even if he had went back to Hull City in a Championship or someone like them, or anyone, even Bournemouth like that time, or Sheffield United, or someone that plays with a pressing forward, he could have saved his career and he could have had 20 more caps for Ireland, I think. But ultimately, look, money probably motivated him to stay there, and that's probably why he didn't do it. And when McCarthy left him out, maybe that's why he got to move then. And he's brought in now because who else have we got, unfortunately, to play up front? And look, I would have loved if George Kelly had been included. Not saying I would have went for him for this game, obviously, against Portugal, or maybe any of these games, but what harm would there have been an informed striker when there's no one else really there?
Fair enough. What score? What way are you going? I don't know. I'm trying to think here as I'm saying it as well. Look. It feels like damage limitation, if I'm honest, doesn't it? A little bit.
It's going to be 3-0 Portugal. I don't think we're going to have a sniff. If we do, it's going to be from a set piece. Portugal are going to be all over us. They've got absolute superstars, and we're playing with League One youngsters. There's a complete difference there. If we do get bashed 3-0, but the lads have tried their best, that's all we can ask for. If they play for this shirt and play for that badge, that's all we can ask for. If they put a strong work rate in, that's all we can ask for. They're youngsters, they're playing at League One level. We're going to go up against superstars from Portugal. I can't really see anything else other than a 3-0 Portugal win, at least for them, unfortunately. That's being completely, bluntly, brutally honest, I think.
Yeah, I'm the same as well, unfortunately. There's no point dressing it up. Look, guys, let us know what you think in the comments. Let us know what you think maybe on the squad, the team selection that Daz picked, any of the topics, Randolph, what team you would pick, what score you think it's going to be. Subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notification button, and that's it, guys. Thanks very much.